Okay, so so I think we're all here for one common thing. We're all fascinated by the food that we see in anime, yeah. And 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 like I said earlier on, we asked you like if you were nicknamed based on the food you usually order at a restaurant, what would it be? And so far we've got one thing for sure, we've got a really good variety of the dishes out there. So so the question is, first of all, let me ask you a question. How do you usually feel like when you start to see the delicious food on the anime?
Hungry, very hungry.
Now, what is it that makes you hungry? Is it is it the way that the food looks, or the fact that the people enjoying it when they eat it?
I would have to say because they seem to enjoy it more.
It's rather interesting, isn't it? Like sometimes it's the food that's so alluring, but sometimes you see the fact when they eat it, like it could be that the deciding factor says, "Yeah, I gotta get something." Yeah.
Oh, I just want to see how naked and how they position themselves so they're hiding the naughty bits whenever they eat food. That's what I'm always curious about.
Like in Food Wars?
Yeah, well, actually, a lot of anime do stuff like that, especially ones that are focused on the food aspect. Food Wars does it. A few others that really go out to showcase the food.
Actually,
Oh my God, a Cylon's on here.
like
Martin, I think you're cutting out. Martin, are you still with us?
yeah, I'm still. Which one, me or?
Yeah, you turned robotic for like 15 seconds.
Oh, well, okay. So yeah, so we can see like like even looking at the food and the way people are eating the food, it's definitely had an effect on us. But I think one thing we want to start to take a look at, like one thing we want to ask about is why does food look good in anime? Now, the interesting thing is like some sources have suggested that it may have started like in Japan in the 80s. So based on the sources, like at the time, there was a booming Japanese economy, and around the 80s, it's also been mentioned that this is probably around the times that we start to see the first sets of the food manga. So one of the earliest known manga it's called Oshinbo. And so what happens is that in this manga of Oshimbo, they do explore Japanese cuisine, and the way that they draw the food has a certain amount of detail on it, But also in this manga, they also want to show, they want to show their passion on the food, So along with like Oshimbo, you've also had like Kuraku no Gourmet, and then there's another interesting manga where there has been some theories that this particular manga may have led to the inspiration for Iron Chef. The one I'm mostly referring to is it's called Mr. Ajiko, featuring a young cook. Now, the question is, how many of you remember seeing the original Iron Chef from Japan when it was dubbed in Food Network?
I remember it.
I saw it before it was on there.
Yeah.
I used to get videotapes from Japan about it.
Who is your favorite Iron Chef?
I didn't have one. I thought they were all kind of, well, okay. The original Japanese guy I thought was the best. What's his name? Roxaburo?
Yeah, I can remember that, but I always remember at the start of the competition, he always paints his menu. Doing at the start of the competition.
Yeah, exactly. He writes out the menu in nice big bold letters.
All right, he was the guy who was always like had a blue motif, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He was interesting, yeah.
Yeah, but when Morimoto came, I think he was the one that took over after the first Japanese Iron Chef. So the Chinese Iron Chef Kenichi, I think he's probably been there throughout the whole time, you know. And I think they probably went through uh, two other French siren chefs before Sakai came along. Okay, so so as you can, as I mentioned before, like you know, in the '80s, you know, you know, we've had the emergence of the food mangas, you know, and like I said, they've got some well, you know, like the way they draw the food on the manga, it's incredibly well detailed as well, you know. But of course, the manga wasn't the only thing. Of course, you know, we have the Studio Ghibli movies, you know. For all we know, like a lot of the foods that we see in there are been influenced directly by Miyazaki themselves. But you know, it's practically almost like every Studio Ghibli film we have seen has had some kind of featured food. You know, like for example, in Laputa Castle in the Sky, you've got the meatball pazu soup, you've got the egg on toast. On Ponyo, you've got the ramen, you know. On Spirit Away, you saw that nice little spread the parents are eating, not to mention all the food that No Face was eating, or Howl's Moving Castle, you know, with the bacon and eggs, or Kiki's delivery service, where they feature the herring and pumpkin pie. Yeah, I know you usually don't hear that combination, but they made it look good. But you know, along with the Studio Ghibli films, there was also another well-known Japanese film that featured food. It was called Tampopo. So the interesting
That
thing with
was live
Tampopo,
action, wasn't it?
yes, it was live action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, in a strange way, this movie was also sort of also adapted into the U.S. You know, featuring Brittany Murphy. It's been mentioned that the director of Tampopo made a cameo appearance in that film. So what is Tampopo? So the main story of Tampopo, it mostly features like you have the struggling ramen restaurant, and then a trucker comes along and says, "Oh my God, this is really bad." So he's trying to teach her to make like the best ramen noodles, you know, try to
Yeah.
like the best way to do it. But throughout the movie, you have these additional vignettes demonstrating the people's love for food. So, for example, there was one sketch where like a whole bunch of business executives went to a restaurant, and there was this junior executive, you know, and you know the senior executive was sort of like bullying the junior executive, you know. But what happened is like when they start to order at the restaurant, all the senior executives just ordered like steak, you know. But then the junior executive, he ordered like something fancy, and he had a nice, interesting gourmet dialogue with the waiter, which sort of shut up the other senior executives. There was another there was also another crazy interesting sketch where a hobo was showing a little boy on making omurice. There's also there's also a weird one with a couple in love and how they share an egg yolk through their mouths. It's it's like, yeah, it's like you never thought eggs could be sexy. Well, somehow they found a way to do that.
Oh, anything can be sexy.
Yeah.
I remember
So yeah,
actually out of your vignettes, there was one that I found was really funny. Was some Japanese woman was giving a culture lesson on how to eat soup,
yep,
and
eating
so all
spaghetti.
these
Yeah,
women are sitting around eating soup, and then this Italian guy, obviously Italian, comes in. He orders a soup, and he's slurping it. He's making all this noise and splashing and all sorts of things. And as she's trying to educate these women how to delicately eat their soup, they're looking over at this guy, and they're all trying to imitate him.
Mhm.
So now they're all making noises and splashing, and then even the teacher ends up doing the same thing as well.
Slurping the soup.
Yeah.
Soup. It does make it taste better.
Uh, your opinions vary. By the way, do you know the guy who did that film? He did a lot of films like this, but do you know what happened to him?
No, I don't. Like I said, it's been a long time since I saw Tampopo. I remember little vignettes from here and there, but I did read about like what Tampopo also led to as well.
Oh yeah. Right, but
Yeah,
just in
but
case
you know,
you're
it's like,
curious,
I remember one of
never
the
mind.
oh yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
Go on.
But I remember one of the other vignettes. So there was a family where their mother was on death's bed. You know, she only just have a very short time to live, and those last few moments, she prepares a wok full of fried rice for them.
Mhm.
and then she dies. And then father says, "Keep eating healing. This is the last warm meal we'll ever get from her." And then there was another vignette with the
You have to see that one,
and
I
then
think. It makes a
yeah.
bigger impact visually.
Yeah, you can understand, you know. And then there was also another sketch where this unusual old lady, she goes into a supermarket in the evening, you know, and you know those people that always squeeze things. So yeah, she's one of those. So it became like a bit of a cat and mouse between the old lady and the store clerk, you know. But overall, the whole movie was, you know, was one way to show, you know, like Japan's love for food, yeah. So you know, it's one of those cult classics. You know, it's like I remember seeing something like that back in the '90s. It was something that we rented, you know, from the video stores. Actually, it was my brother who rented that. You know, so yeah, but you know, when you think, but as I said, it's not, and you know how I mentioned the Studio Ghibli movie, but you know, we also have to realize that, you know, there are also other animes that's also featured certain types of anime food. You know, like for example, you got Yuri on Ice, where they featured the katsudon. Omelette was featured in the Garden of Words. You know, in the Night of Sword Walk on Girl, there's a hot pot that was featured. On Assassination Classroom, you got the takoyaki. Ocean Waves features the bento boxes. Yeah, there's and then there's Fate Stay Night was a scene based on mapo tofu. You got certain types of pasta, like squid ink pasta, that was featured in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And of course, then there was also bento. In this anime, let's just say people actually have physical fights in order to claim half-price bento boxes.
Oh, my favorite.
It's
That's a
like,
really good anime, by the way. Maybe something to watch
yeah,
on a Thursday, maybe.
yeah. I know it's a very interesting philosophy on bento, because you know, like, you know, it's like during the battle, it's everybody that's out for themselves just to get these half price bento boxes, and you know, be prepared to get a punch in the face for that, you know. But then
Yeah.
after the fight, you know, it's like, you know, like, oh, you know, what was it? Yeah, good luck. Good luck next time. Yeah, I'll see you. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
maybe,
no,
maybe I'll pick up
it's
something
all
wrong.
fighting until you get your hands on the bento. Then
Yeah,
you're safe, and then everybody goes do their own thing, kind of.
mhm,
They don't
exactly.
hold grudges.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's like, you know, afterwards, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're on the same side.
Yeah, it's pretty decent anime.
Yeah, and actually, there was one episode where he tried to join this group. It's like they sort of created this very well how he got the bento, but then he stated like, you know, getting the bento like this, it just didn't taste as good compared to actually fighting for it and actually earning it.
Well, I think those are things that you should leave for people who actually watch
Mhm.
the anime.
Yeah. Yeah, but this leads me about an interesting question: is there a certain type of food that you would really want to make the distance for? That you want to, like, if somebody has the last one, would you be willing to fight for it?
I suppose if I'm in the mood for a fight.
You know, it's weird that this doesn't happen on the Fight Club movie.
Fight Club. Is that some
Mhm.
what when was that anime released?
Oh no, it's not an anime. No, it's a live action film featuring Brad
Oh,
Pitt.
but then I don't know anything about that. I mean,
Ah, okay. But
I heard
okay.
about it. I don't remember what it was.
Fight Club.
It's a good film, guys. You gotta watch it.
Okay, now, you know, but you know, one thing that's also, I think that's what you think. I think one of the things that's also one important point to consider is that, I mean, we've known about the quality of the anime that they produce, and it's like, you know, you put so much detail into everything in anime, and you put so much detail into everything. It's like you can't take anything for granted. Kind of like you look at the backgrounds and it's like everything, you got to make sure that the food has a high quality, you know. And you know, there was an interesting example that shows where they had to change it because something about the food didn't look right. So
But the
there was
melon
some sort
anime?
well, actually, the reference refers to a production called Yokeme Yori Rurio
Oh yeah,
Na.
yeah, that's the melon anime.
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, according to what I heard, so they were slicing this cabbage, but during the original animation, the cabbage, it looked like a
Like a
green
melon.
circle, looked like a jawbreaker. But when they came to
Yeah.
the DVD releases, they
They fixed it.
redid the footage. So it looks like an actual cabbage.
Well, actually, I always thought that that was the series that kind of focused food, at least food representation on anime, because before that, people really didn't care. But then when they did that little melon thing,
Yeah.
all of a sudden there was a huge backlash on 2channel and all the other forums, and people were making fun of it. The cabbage meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were making fun of it like crazy. So they ended up, without saying anything, fixed it on the DVD. But it
Yeah.
was after that that I thought that, oh, people are now kind of paying more attention to these things.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, like I said, it just shows that it's like when you maintain the quality of food, like it, to go with the quality of animation and everything else, like it just shows that there's a certain standard that has to be maintained. We need to maintain that quality, that every detail has to be right. But now I've got an interesting question for you. So, how do you feel when you see the anime characters wolf down their food? Does it make you want to eat something?
Mm.
No, it doesn't.
No.
But
No?
there was this one funny bit I remember. Was it Samurai Champloo?
Mhm.
Where the main female character was eating so much she turned fat.
Yeah.
She was all fat and stuff.
Yeah.
And when they went looking for them, oh no,
Mhm.
we're looking for some fat chick, not some skinny chick. So that's not
Mhm.
her, right? But because she plumped up during some sort of all you can eat ramen contest, they didn't recognize her. But other than that, no, I never felt, oh my God, I have to eat that.
Mhm.
Not even when I'm
Nah.
hungry. Sorry.
I guess I'm just the opposite. I do. Whenever I see something like delicious and the character's eating it, makes me want to like try it.
See, I think for me, it depends on what they're eating. If it's like a juicy steak or maybe ramen, and they really portray that sense of maybe the aroma and things like that, then yes, I want to eat it. If it's more like they're just like chowing down, like if it's like Goku just like eating like a steak or something, that doesn't do anything for me. But if it's more like the emphasis is on the experience of eating, then yeah, that makes you think, okay, yeah, I kind of crave some ramen right now, or I want that damn steak, you know.
So does it make you hungry, like if they're chowing down, wolfing it down, or if they're taking their time when they eat it?
I think taking time has a certain methodical kind of quality to it, I guess. Like, I mean, you get to appreciate, like, because, like, okay, for instance, if we use a steak example, and maybe it's like a Japanese hamburger steak, or maybe someone with some sort of like, what is it, Wellington sauce on it. They'll do like the cut, and they'll show the meat coming off the side. They'll show the juices coming out, and they put a lot of emphasis into that. Partly because they want to, if they're going to animate, they might as well go all the way if they're going to put in the budget to it, but also to really show how delicious this thing should be. And sometimes that works for me. But if it's just like someone eating some chahan and just like wolfing it down, it just looks like a bunch of grains going all over the place. But anything that helps with the experience, like I said, the visual, because again, you eat with your eyes even before you smell and anything, right? So if it looks good, you're probably going to enjoy it. And I think animators and artists in general, they understand this. So when you are portraying food, presuming you have the budget, you're not making a cabbage that looks like a gumball. You're going to go all the way to make it be as delicious looking as possible. I think it
It's
works
like
sometimes.
forever ago, I went to school for video production, and one of the things they taught us was cartoons, commercials. Don't use real food. It's all clay and not marshmallows, potatoes, smashed potatoes. Because you can color the potatoes and you can mold them, and then they just kind of turn into a brick under the lights. They said, everything about food is just color. And a little while after that, a friend of mine that owned a French restaurant taught me a whole bunch of stuff. And it was like a 3-star restaurant. And I could see You style everything on the plate, you make it pretty, and if it's not 100% perfect pretty, it goes in trash.
Can I be
Oh,
the
yeah.
trash can? Like, god damn it, man.
Oh yeah, and he'd start cussing at me in French, and I learned a couple French cuss words because he would cuss the fuck out of me. But yeah, it's all about the first thing you see when the waiter is bringing it out. It's like watching Food Wars made me want to be a chef.
Mhm.
And then I realized, no, that's a horrible job. That's why I didn't do it back then. But I do like seeing those when they're cooking those animes. It's just kind of fun to watch.
I agree.
I've got yeah. Oh wait, I'm just gonna check a little quick message. Yep, at the pizza place I work on the weekends, I make sure the mess ups go back for staff, and yeah, there's a lot of food waste. Yeah, actually, this sort of reminds me that a little interesting saying that my brother does. So because like sometimes when he's practicing trying to cook a new dish, one of the problems is that it's like one of the problems with that when you try to perfect your dish is you have to eat the failures. I remember doing that one time, trying to create a waffle recipe that has that result I'm looking for, and then for a time it's like, yeah, I had to integrate those test waffles into my meals for the rest of the week.
Just cover it in maple syrup and you're fine.
Mhm. Well, fortunately, good thing like waffles, you can add all the savory stuff, right? Like the chicken and waffles, so it can still work out. But now, I've got an interesting question for you. Do you feel that the way that the food is drawn in anime, does it create like a type of an ideal environment, or does it feel like it creates a quality of food that you can't that you actually cannot get?
It's like the ideal of what food would be. It never can live up to.
Yeah, I think, especially since it's an artistic medium, right? You will like the lighting is going to be so perfect, and like just the rendering of it's going to look great, right? It'll never like a photo will never really live up to it. It'll come close, and you'll see some like 5-star restaurants that do some amazing things, but that's more spectacle than it is just like the mood that an anime or a picture can set. So yeah, I think it's more like an idealized thing. But if it gets me hungry, it works. Whatever.
So, have you ever had a moment that you see something in anime that says, "I gotta try that," and did it meet your expectations or did it not meet your expectations?
I do stuff like that all the time, but since I have no expectations, it always meets it.
Okay.
I would say so, yeah. So, like as a kid, I used to love watching Doraemon,
Mhm.
and Doraemon would eat like this little bun thing.
Dorayaki?
Yeah. And back then, as a kid, I didn't know what brown bean paste was.
Yeah.
I thought it was just chocolate. So the first time I ever tried it, I was like, this is not at all what I thought this would taste like. And I just, yeah, was kind of
Oh, weird.
disappointed as a kid.
Weird, because dorayaki is chocolate. I don't know what somebody slipped you.
It's brown paste, isn't it?
It's red
I'm
bean.
kidding. I'm
Red
kidding.
bean.
It's red bean paste.
Yeah,
I was just trying to confuse you.
that.
Gaslighting. I said I was trying to gaslight you.
How dare you, Barton?
It's like, now this, actually, when you're talking about the dorayaki, it did remind me about something. So remember the earlier days of anime, like during the times when Sailor Moon and Pokemon first came to the North American airways? Do you remember some of the instances where in Sailor Moon they report, they called the little buns as donuts, and Brock's onigiri as donuts? How did you feel about that at the time?
Anyone else want to go? I feel I talk too much.
No. You don't talk enough, Nigel. You have to make
okay.
up for all the times you're not here.
True, I
fact,
guess.
Yeah.
Maybe we should devote a whole hour just for
Mhm.
you to talk. I
Oh,
think that would
man.
even things up.
Well, my back's been acting up, right? And, my mornings really, really terrible lately.
Well, you
I've
don't
been
need your
sleeping on my
back for this. Just lie down, lie back, and rest on your bed and hold
Yeah.
the phone over your head and chat away.
All right, none of my rambling old man stuff, I guess. That's just localization. And as I've gotten older, I've come to accept these type of things. I understand why they do these things. If you make something seem too foreign to an audience that may not be too familiar with the culture of the medium, you can alienate them, and it's a reality. Uh, for the West, you'll see names being changed, you'll see locations. Like I think in Sailor Moon, they even tried they had a hard time really trying to hide the fact that it was Tokyo. A lot of the times, eventually they just kind of leaned into it and be like, look, they can't really hide Tokyo Tower, or try to convince someone that's the Eiffel Tower.
Well, it is the Eiffel Tower.
Okay. And yeah, but as things progress and people become more immunized to where these things come from, these influences and things like that, that localization becomes less of an issue. But if going back to Sailor Moon and Brock's, I guess, dumplings or donuts or whatever, I looked at that and I was just like, I see what they're doing there. Most kids are gonna look at that and say, okay, no, that's kind of weird. I'm gonna look it up. But for parents who are looking at it, they're not gonna feel like, oh my God, this is some sort of weird, Asian thing, and maybe they're people who are more accustomed to more Western type things, right? So you have to kind of appeal to everybody and ease them into things, even if sometimes it's very stupid.
Yeah. What's the term? Whitewash, I believe.
I believe so, yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but you guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Sorry, what?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
it
we can hear
didn't
you
jump.
clearly.
Okay, sorry about that.
No
Yeah,
worries.
sorry, I'm just testing out my microphone.
Oh.
I don't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
It's okay. So what do you think about, sorry, who's talking for starters? Because you're not showing up on my screen.
This is on Little David's iPhone.
Oh, hi, little David. What do you think about all this changing things around, like onigiri becoming donuts and other things, which I, sorry, wasn't really paying attention to in the question. Yes, your mic out that
Gary
way.
becoming. What show is that?
Pokemon.
They did it on Pokemon and Sailor Moon.
Oh, I don't think I have much of an opinion about that. I mean, I need to actually see it in order to give you a solid opinion. But I mean, I'm listening.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay. Now here's an interesting. Now I've got another interesting question. As time goes by, in the production of anime, the technology changes. It gets better. Do you feel that technology has also had a hand in the way food is displayed in anime?
How about rephrasing your question? I don't understand you. So
Okay.
we get better technology and the food becomes more real.
Do you feel that technology has also had a hand in the way food looks in anime?
Like the way anime is animated
Okay.
now?
Okay, let me do it this way. The detailing of the food. Do you think it's because of the technology? Like if you probably look at the way food probably looks like in the older anime compared to the current anime. Do you believe that technology has also had a hand in that?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would say is that in general, and anime in general looks a lot better than it did many, many years ago. But when you're talking about food,
Mhm.
I don't think I can give you a solid answer unless you're talking about Spirited Away or something.
Yeah. Like look at the old Berserk versus the new Berserk. The new Berserk is so much better. The new anime TV series is so much better than the original one, thanks to technology. But I don't think it's just associated with food.
He's being sarcastic.
Yeah. I was being sarcastic about the Berserk. Holy
Yeah.
cow, nobody caught that. Right?
Um,
It's just that nobody will suddenly break out the computers to all of a sudden, do better looking food. It's going to be used for everything. And the computers really just replace all the slave animators they have in Korea and Vietnam and China.
let's see. If I had to put my 2 cents, I think computer and technology has increased the visual fidelity of an image. And you see that in anime. You look at the gradients, it's no longer just like 3 different tones. You can go from like brown to like a golden sort of a shade or something like that. And there are more earthy tones now because back when they were doing traditional cell, you didn't have that luxury of being able to use earthy colors. But I feel if an animator or the creator wants to, really portray good looking food, again, we've seen like Miyazaki films do wonderful depictions of food without having to resort too much on the computer to actually either add more color or definition to it. It's really about the vision. And again, it goes back to the whole you eat with your eyes. And I feel even with limited resources, you can create very beautiful things. And I don't really think technology has necessarily improved it. It's just changed how the presentation, I guess, it is delivered, I guess you could say. I don't know, does that make any sense to anybody?
I agree with what you said, and I think what you said makes sense because sometimes maybe technology can help us do things that we probably couldn't do before. It's like, for example, it's like if you were hand drawing something, can you create an effect where it looks like a light is shining off of something? Maybe it's easier with computer technology.
Mm,
Oh yeah, it
Well-
is because the computer calculates the physics for you.
Mhm.
Right? It's really hard to get that right.
are we actually talking about computer animation at this point, or are we just talking about painting?
I thought he was talking about computer versus traditional, like analog cell animation.
Well, the thing, okay, like for instance, digital cell, it's still someone actually, coloring the thing. And you don't really need to have a simulation for like say cost. Oh, I won't get technical, but you don't have to have a simulation for reflection. Especially since, say you did do that, you would have to sometimes cheat it for the perspective that you're, for the video perspective that you're presenting. And this is like a typical like animation type of trick. You cheat whenever you can to either exaggerate effect or even like add more emphasis. And when you're drawing these things and coloring these things, you're still using the same sort of principles and techniques that you would have done if it was traditional. You just may have maybe a wider palette of colors to use, as opposed to again maybe only using like 3 or 4. And, yeah, but if we're talking about computer animation now, like Pixar type stuff, then yeah, it's definitely, you're going to get things that look more physically real because you can get indirect lighting bouncing off the things, and you can just program that if you want to. You don't have to think of that as the artist and paint it in. So in that regard, I guess, yeah. But I think anime doesn't really do food in 3D right now. I hope not, anyway.
Okay, so I think one thing I think we should also think about with food in anime. I think we should all agree that that food is definitely a big part of the Japanese culture. I mean, like first of all, like there's the washoku. There's also like where they talk about the rules of the food. What they do and how to present it and how it appeals to other people. I mean, we've even seen like food festivals that go on for particular types of foods, like things like stuff like mochi all the way to oysters. There's also been theories about how there's spirits in food, how it's tied to religion. And actually, and it's not just like the food that they worship. I mean, even the kitchen utensils they worship as well. It's rather interesting. So back then in the era of Iron Chef in Japan, there was a time they actually had this special where Japanese Iron Chef Morimoto would compete against Bobby Flay. N- Now, keep on this. So here's what happened. This was the first time they had this battle. So what happened is once the time was finished, Bobby Flay was standing on top of his counter on top of a cutting board on some of his victory. That made Morimoto mad because Morimoto said that the cutting board it's very very sacred. It's a very sacred tool. That you shouldn't disrespect that. So what happened is at some point in Iron Chef, there was another battle between Morimoto. Yeah, I know he's another battle between Morimoto and Bobby Flay. So Bobby Flay heard about what happened. So at the end of the battle, so just to make sure he doesn't fit anymore, he put the cutting board aside and still stood on top of the counter.
America.
Yeah. And just think, Morimoto became one of the Iron Chefs in the Iron Chef America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I remember a team battle of Morimoto and Bobby Flay, and they won that one.
Mm.
Now, some things I want to ask you. Now, when you eat food, what are some of the effects that it has on you?
Well, I want to take off my clothes and just wave around, trying to imagine, my body's melting as this thing throws me into an orgasmic high. But it doesn't usually happen. So
That happens when I drink sake.
it's only happened to me maybe 3 times. Right. The people at the Tim Hortons were pretty surprised about that, actually.
What were you eating?
It was the farmer's breakfast sausage, which is something I'm not allowed to eat anymore.
Now, I think we can all agree that when it comes to food, we know that there's a lot of connections, like with family, emotion, love, and care. Has there, and what do any of you consider your type of comfort food?
I like stews. That's me. I don't know. Anyone else?
Not to be
Well, my
cliche,
comfort
but
food is anything marked daily special.
I like that.
I'd have to say baked goods.
By the way, you guys ever watch those? I don't think you probably would, but has anyone seen those broadcasts where they go around in various Japanese cities and they'll do reviews on restaurants and stuff? Have you guys ever seen those little Japanese TV shows? Okay, well, anyway, the way they act, the way they, oh, this stuff is delicious kind of thing, there's actually some sort of classes that they take for newscasters and people like that, so that they will know how to behave when the food is really good, or if they're just trying to plug the restaurant. I don't think we have classes like that here. I just thought it was weird that they actually offered that. But I guess that's probably, just how Japanese are. That's how important it is for them in food.
Well, anyone else was going to say something? Okay, I was just going to say, I think it's just because Japan is a very formal culture. They have there's certain social rules, and they try to keep cohesion. Let's just say. So it would be very bad for anyone to have a very opinionated, like a very individual, opinionated opinion. You can't be too argumentative. So I figure these lessons are also to be like, hey, if you don't like something, this is how you get around swallowing it and gulping it down without insulting anybody or making the the broadcaster look bad, kind of thing. Because again, reputation is everything in Japan, and you don't want to piss off the general public because it usually ends bad. That's my 2 cents.
It's interesting. I kept thinking about around my times I went to Taiwan, and I've seen like how they use like social media differently as well. Like it's not just like the restaurants, but also one of the things they also promote is that at Taiwan you have these night markets, and I also see them do reviews, like even on a food cart, that's in the night markets. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some cases, like I've seen lineups for a particular food cart at the night market. Yeah. Actually, I remember this one time my brother's girlfriend actually stood in line to try these deep fried sweet potato dough balls.
Yeah,
She waited,
wow.
she waited like for about half an hour. So it's and it's really interesting, like how how they show it like in on a on TV, and all of a sudden people gather just to try it out. Now, have you ever had those moments like you were feeling down and then the food was and then you were eating certain food and it lifted your spirits?
Chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, it happened to me, but that's also because the people that made my spirits down, they got into a car crash in front of me while I was eating the food.
Oh.
So that kind of lifted my spirits up, but maybe it was more the car crash,
Mhm.
right? And watching their flaming bodies withering on the ground, trying to put the flames out.
Okay.
Or has anybody ever been in a certain situation, like for example, there was an episode of Hayuki, like where they lost where they lost tournaments, and the coaches treated them to this really impressive dinner, and as you see them eating, like you see them crying you see them crying too.
Isn't that haiku?
Yeah, that's what I think Haikyuu. Yeah,
Oh, I thought you said Hayuki or something.
maybe I pronounced it wrong. Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
remember that episode though.
Yeah. Or have any of you ever had those moments like you ate something and you sort of were reminiscing of an earlier time in your life?
Sure, but that usually happens when I'm sitting on the toilet, reminiscing the time I had food and I didn't have to go to the toilet like that.
Too much curry for you, I guess.
Mm.
Let's see.
There's never too much curry. Besides, it's going in and coming out, it's the same. So it's a perfect food. It's twice the fun.
Yeah, I walked into that one. I think, maybe eating. See. There's like a West Indian sweets, these West Indian sweets that sometimes I will eat. And that will remind me of, oh, okay, that's when and I actually hate going to Indian temples, but that reminded me of going to those things and that sort of experience. I can't say if it was a good experience or not, but it does bring back certain memories. It's like, okay, so I guess I associate memories with that type of snack, I guess. Anyone else?
Oh my god,
Actually,
Lunchables.
What's a Lunchable?
Oh yes. Lunchables are like pre-packed snack type lunches, like has like salami, crackers, sticks, or like either Cheese Whiz or yeah.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm looking for a couple of childhood foods too. There was this one food that I really liked. It was a little can, like a can the size of a tuna can, but it had some sort of pizza spread.
Oh, I get it.
Sure.
It's like you open up the can. It's like a type of pizza sauce and pepperoni inside. Take out,
High
and you can
class
spread it
No,
on
no.
bread, right?
There's actually, it's all liquid. So
Okay.
it's like a pepperoni cheese pizza, but it's all in a spread. Basically it's all artificial chemicals all put together. You put it on top of your toast and you have that.
I
So
remember
I
having
didn't have
something
that
like
that good of a childhood. Let's say.
Yeah.
But that was one of my staples. I mean, it was so easy for me to crack one open when I got home. Just open up the can and spread it on whatever bread.
I remember seeing something like that. I remember my brother used to eat something like that.
Yeah,
It
if you
was
can
about, like, years
remember
ago.
that. I'm kind of trying to look for it. It's just I don't remember what the name was.
Yeah. Or if they
And then
even
there-
still make it.
And there, well, no, they stopped making it because it's all artificial.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember reading the ingredients. There's nothing natural about that product. Right. So I wasn't surprised when it went away. It's just that was one of the things from my childhood.
Mhm. Yeah. Now now here's an interesting question. This is based on an episode we watched that we featured on Blood Blockade Battlefront, food punishment. Has anybody ever had those cases like you try to go to a restaurant but somehow you just can't get that break to either get something to eat or you just can't decide what to eat?
I get that every day. When you go to one of those Chinese restaurants and there's like 800 things on the menu, which one to get?
Mhm.
And then I end up going to the burger place across the street.
Has anybody ever had those experiences? Like, for example, like in Toronto, we have the Canadian National Exhibition, and there's the food building and all these food stalls. Has anybody ever had that situation? Like, you just can't decide what you want to try out there.
No, you go for the most disgusting thing you can find.
Deep fried
Right? For me, it
Oreo.
was the hot dog with the hell was that? It was a hot dog sundae. So it had a hot dog, a bun, ice cream, whipped cream, nuts, chocolate. There was a cherry on top.
Yeah.
I've heard of fries and ice cream. Wow, that's interesting.
Ice cream. That's kind of pedestrian.
It's kind of nasty.
Yep.
If
actually
if the
tried,
ice cream was rolled up into a dough ball
Yeah.
with French fries and then deep fried, that would be interesting.
Actually, I remember one time at the X, I actually tried cake poutine. The cake part that looks like the fries. Why is it so dense?
Oh, these weren't fries. These were like little cake
I know, cake,
fingers
yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds good.
the
And
cake
then-
poutine. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have gravy with maple syrup.
Oh, they didn't use gravy, but they used like some like a. Well, the one I had, it had like a bit of a. I chose the one with a strawberry sauce on it. You know.
Oh no, it's got to be gravy with strawberry sauce. You have to have the gravy. You have to have the gravy and the cheese curds, otherwise it's not poutine.
Actually, I actually tried one stall where like the stall on the food building bacon was featured. You can even get bacon on a stick.
That's not very. I mean, I could do bacon on a stick.
Or a taco in a Doritos bag.
That actually doesn't sound
Sounds like
bad.
something we'd make in the field.
I think, yeah, isn't that what you do with Doritos in a bag? Isn't that why they make the small Doritos bags? So you could split it open on the side and pour stuff in?
And actually, that's how they served it. They served it in the Doritos bag.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember.
So thinking weird food. Has anyone had actual MREs?
Me.
Yeah, actually, I just went through both A and B
Wait, what did he say?
Oh,
What did he say?
packages while during COVID. I think I still have the I have one left. I think it's the pork patties.
did you get the pizza?
No, I didn't get that. This was MREs from 2018, I think. So
Okay, yeah, the
I missed
pizza
that.
started last year.
yeah, I know. But I can't find anybody with the new. I asked you about that. You couldn't
Oh, yeah.
set me up with anyone for the new MREs.
No,
Anyway.
I just got a box in and it had it.
Yeah. I hear it's good.
It was interesting.
Oh, okay. Not so good then.
Yeah,
MREs
just
for
opening.
the uninitiated are meals ready to eat. It's what the U.S. Army feeds their soldiers to make them more aggressive and killers.
Yeah, because it tastes so bad, you want to run.
The ones I had
And
were
the
okay.
Try eating them for a month straight.
Okay, that's yeah, I can see why.
I did. I went through both A and B cases. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's just when you're in the field and you have that for like every meal for months on end, you kind of, well, everything in your body kind of stops working.
Oh yeah, well, if you're constantly eating that, then yeah.
Mhm.
But just the opening the bag made me think about that and the smell of the thing cooking when it's warming up. It's so weird.
Oh, and now I'm just thinking of all the productions where they talk about using rations. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I was looking at all the anime footage of people of anime of characters like eating food, there's one thing I've always pondered about. Who do you think is able to eat more? Is it the male anime characters or the female anime characters?
Most likely the females. I mean, sorry, the males. The males. Why did I say female?
Sabrina,
Because
what's
it's
your
the
opinion?
female. It's true.
Yeah.
It's always the female. The guys don't care what they eat. I mean, they
Lena
just shove it
inverse.
in their mouth. The women are the ones that are
Being
usually
inverse.
I was gonna say females because I feel like it's sometimes more comedic when they eat more than the male like anime characters in the show.
I guess she has a point there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be half the joke. That, instead of being all perfect, they're being human and eating everything they see.
And the joke is like, where the hell do they pack it all? Kind of thing, right? So,
Just disappears.
mhm.
Yeah, it's because that's why I was wondering, because I'm not sure, like it made me wonder, like, do I usually see like more female characters who eat a lot compared to male characters, or or is it always just because it's just an unusual gathering of clips that I have seen, But it's weird though. I mean, like I've seen a rare number of instances where you see the females who do gain the weight. Like I've seen this happen on Gintama, but at some point later on, the weight disappears quite immediately,
yeah.
And then people do wonder where it all goes. Like like there's that famous Naruto Shippuden clip with the ramen eating contest, and Hinata was the winner.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. Where she put it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's like I know, it's like, where does he put it? Like, and then like I said, I've seen more and more animes of the female characters who eat a lot. Like I think it's more than what I've seen like on the male characters. Like for example on Dragon Ball, yeah, you see a lot of eating mostly from the Saiyans, which for the Saiyans, they do need a lot of energy. And it's like, and also like Boo, Beerus, Whis, they eat a lot of food as well. Like, but like so. Although it makes it wonder, it's like how actually can you all name like female and male anime characters that have been known to eat a lot?
The only female characters I know that eat a lot are usually the tomboy types.
Yeah, Lena and Gallery.
Yeah.
Like half of the show is about eating.
I second Lena and Garen. They're ridiculous when it comes to food. And Naga the serpent.
Was it in Gallery? Every time he gets beaten up, it's like, if you keep eating like that, you're going to grow everywhere but your bust. And then she like throws him across the country.
Yep.
Oh wait. I remember. Do you guys remember Ponty and Stocking? Do you remember that anime? Ponty
I
and
do.
Stocking with Garter Belt?
We're not supposed to talk about that here. Panties and stockings with garter belt.
That's the
Yeah,
name of the
that's-
show. That's the name
a
of the
taboo
show.
thing. Sabrina doesn't like talking about that. She doesn't want her past coming up in these things.
Oh, whatever. There
Where
was
are you
a
going with this first?
You care to explain, Sabrina?
Go for it.
well, I was just gonna say there was a female character that kind of ate a lot in that show. That's all I was gonna say.
Okay.
And she gained a lot of weight. She had literally turned into a ball.
Jeez.
There was one anime where they actually talked about this. She gained weight and she developed bulimia. so she was always throwing up. And the anime played it for comedic effect.
Oh.
Very, very black anime.
That got depressing very quick. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. you shouldn't have thought about
Okay.
it.
Okay,
What-
let's change. Let's
What
change
show
the,
was that? I've never heard of it.
Me neither, actually.
Oh, that's actually one of my favorite shows. It was Sabagebu, the survival game club.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very little known anime, I'm guessing. But it was one of those rare black comedy type things where the main character is probably the worst person you'll ever meet in terms of bad guys or good guys ever.
Wait, what was the name of the show again?
Sabagebu, the survival game club.
Oh,
Oh, now everyone's looking it up.
well, while everybody's looking that up, I should mention that there was another interesting famous movie involving food. In a strange way, it's sort of like Iron Chef with controversy behind it. This one is actually directed by the same person who directed Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer, God of Cookery. So this was another live action movie done in the 90s. Yeah. So it was picture mostly involved. So it's another different type of cooking. It has a cooking story behind it, sort of like their version of Iron Chef, and sort of the journeys and the controversies that took place. Not like the actual Iron Chef, but sort of based on that. They even had an amusing scene where he got his training from the 18 brassmen of the Shaolin Monastery, and how he won victory using a simple pork fried rice.
Yeah, is that the one where his final dish in the competition was basically noodles or something with rice, or noodles with barbecue pork?
Barbecue pork and rice.
Oh, okay. So I did watch that thing.
Yeah. So that's another interesting live action food movie back in the days, back in the 90s. Yeah. Now I think we all know we've seen people eating the food, and we also know about all the food wars. Everybody's having the food gasms. Every time they eat the food. And when it comes to food wars, they actually do a lot of consultations in producing the dishes. But of course, maybe a lot of people don't want to see all those food gasms, And the question is, are there other kinds of food anime, that people can also appreciate, And luckily, there's an amazing amount of food anime that's out there in a way. One of the things one interesting anime, and this is one of my favorites. It's Restaurant to Another World. So there's already a manga and a light novel series attached to that, and actually it's been recently announced that a second season is coming. So in Restaurant to Another World, picture this. So you have the master in Japan, but every 7 days on Saturday, a doorway opens to a fantasy world where the civilians of that world actually take out of the way to come to that restaurant. In fact, some of these patrons always order the same dish that they're nicknamed after them. So, for example, you have an old sage who's nicknamed Pork Loin Cutlets. You have a lion gladiator who, for 20 years, has been eating pork cutlet rice bowls. You have a samurai that always loves teriyaki chicken. Then there's also there was somebody who was stranded on an island. He found a door on his island and has been eating curry rice for 20 years. But when a ship finally came along and he's about to get rescued, he's saying, do I really want to get rescued? I don't know. Eventually, he reluctantly decided to get rescued and said, gee, maybe I'll find another door somewhere else. So 3 months later, good, yes, there is another door and closer than I expected. So it's really amazing, all the efforts that the people go to just to go to this restaurant once every 7 days. One of the other interesting and one another interesting some other interesting items that's worth checking out. There is Ms. Koizume loves ramen noodles. So in each of these episodes, you have about like three, on average, like 3 short stories. So you have Koizumi, who's really not really a sociable person, you know, but you find out that she really loves ramen noodles. But what's very interesting is that when you look at this, you find out all the different varieties of ramen that's out there, other ways you can prepare your instant ramen or convenience store ramen. One thing that was interesting that there was an episode that talked about pineapple ramen. And yeah, and they actually found a place that actually does that. There's another episode that shows how ramen noodles started to become popular in German cuisine. So they start to show what German ramen noodles are like. So for those into ramen, you might want to give that a try and learn like what else is out there. Now, along with Restaurant to Another World is more like a different type of reverse isekai. Well, there's also there's another different one called isekai izakaya, Japanese food from another world. So picture a restaurant on our world at the back end that's just connected to our world, but the front end it's always connected to an older world. You know, to more of an ancient world, but people always come for the Japanese food. Actually, the regulars love it so much that it comes to the point that it's the regulars who save the restaurant later on in the series. But this gives you a chance to learn more of the different kinds of Japanese food that's out there. Yeah. Then there was another old anime out there that's called Cooking Papa. According to this one, Cooking Papa involves like a salaryman who can cook, but apparently he doesn't want his workplace to know about this. So every time he shows the cooking, he always says it's his wife that makes it. And keep in mind, his wife has no kitchen skills at all. So this is a much older anime. Yeah. And then there's some other types of anime where it's not like 22 minutes. There's actually just lasts for a few minutes. But there are some anime that also offer recipes at the end, or it gives you an idea on how to make it. So, for example, there's JK Meshi. So most involves a couple of students, but close to the end of the short episode, they show like, oh, I'm going to prepare this, and you get an idea on how to make it. I guess in some ways, you look at it, I guess in some ways it's probably like meant for like the college students, how they make it at home, we have limited budgets. Then there's the Waka Kozake. This is another set of anime shorts where a elderly woman comes around like after work and goes to different izakayas and you try out different foods. If you're interested in looking at more other types of Italian cuisine, then there's also a Pia Savole, So where every episode that they feature a different kind of Italian cuisine. Or if you're into, if you have a certain appreciation for certain types of breads, like the breads that you see at the Chinese bakeries, or the bakeries, then there's Pan de Pisse. Or for those of you who are into alcohol, there's another anime with shorts called Love is Like a Cocktail. So what happens is that you have the selling woman, either comes to work and her husband always prepares a drink, and in the episode they actually show you the recipe and the quantities of each ingredient on how to make it. Yep. Okay, I see Lily's watched Love is Like a Cocktail. Yeah. One of the other animes, there was also True Cooking Master Boy. So it involves cooking in 19th century China. Or one of the other classic animes is Yakitate Japan. So in that one, it's a classic anime because first of all, you've heard about different types of bread, like German bread, French bread, but here in the story, the main character he wants to create Japan, bread that really defines Japan. But at the same time, you also get to learn about some of the techniques when it comes to making bread. There's another heartwarming anime called Sweetness and Lightning. So picture this scenario. You have a recently widowed father and his daughter, So now because of that, she used to do all the cooking, and unfortunately, ever since she passed away, a lot of the meals are mostly like takeout stuff you get at the convenience stores. But now, at some point, he wants to actually cook the meals that his daughter loves. So with the help of one of his students, you get to see how they prepare that. Or if you're looking for another type of post anime, things that take place in the restaurant, take a look at Yotsuyo Bioi. Okay, and then one of the other, okay, this is another set of, this is another anime that has swords. The premise, it's a little bizarre. It kind of makes you wonder if there's actually a rice marketing board behind the creation of this one. It actually has 2 seasons. It's called Love Rice. So picture a group of boys trying to create an idol group so they can help to promote the benefits of rice. And at the end of every episode, you get to learn a new type of rice dish. Now, there's something I never thought I would see, combining an idol group and rice. And yet somehow they made it work.
RNG, man. It's all RNG.
Yep.
Just feed these variables into a computer and it spits out the weirdest crap.
Mm-hmm. I know it kind of, it does make, on some of these, it kind of makes it wonder like if there's a certain sponsor behind it.
Martin,
Mhm.
maybe you should like publish this as a list.
Mhm.
That way we aren't trying to remember all these names that
Yeah.
you're throwing at us.
I should do that because I know there's still a couple more anime that I haven't listed, but I still want to give out some more details. But I think what I want to show that, outside of Food Wars, there's still an amazing variety of food anime that's out there. And it's amazing, like the specific types of foods that they cover as well, But I think it's nice that, you don't necessarily have to go into a foodgasm,
Yeah, but
It's
it's
like
more
this bed and
interesting when you go into a
breakfast one.
foodgasm.
Mhm.
This bed and breakfast, this girl goes into the demon world or whatever. It's really good. It's
Mhm.
just a slice of life thing. She gives the recipes basically in every episode.
Sorry, what was that?
I can't say the Japanese word, but then it says bed and breakfast for spirits.
Mhm.
It's very happy, calm anime. My work's kind of stressful, so I like the calm.
You like the sorry, what was it called? Bed and
Bed and
Bed and
breakfast,
breakfast for
spirits?
spirits. Yeah. And it's very pretty, very well done. The stories are very, they pull you in.
Kaku to you. Oh, Gonzo.
I've got an interesting question for you. So, after the closing credits of the very first Avengers movie, you had that scene where the Avengers were having shawarma, and I remember reading about an article that because of that scene, it helped to increase the shawarma sales.
Until they found out what shawarma really was, and then
Yeah.
sales came crashing back down.
I'm a little curious. Did anybody have a certain type of food that they really want to try after watching it?
Well, there's this is it Norwegian or Danish dish where you take a skate and you bury it in a beach for like 3 months,
Right.
and then you dig it up and you eat it.
Oh.
It's, I think, the 3rd smelliest food on the planet.
Ooh. How would that rank to, let's say, durian fruit?
Oh, I think durian is like 8 or 9.
Mhm.
This thing is absolutely potent. Well, it's a half rotten piece of skate, right? Fish.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting the stinky tofu flashbacks from all my trips.
Oh yeah, it's nowhere near stinky tofu. Like that
Yeah.
stuff's kind of tame.
Mhm. It's so bizarre. It's like it smell the stinky tofu smells so bad, but the taste is it's a different case. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, you're right. It tastes worse than it smells.
Mhm. Actually, I had mine with a garlic sauce on it. So
Oh, you cheated. You might as well just have smothered it in like good flavors and stuff. You
well,
can't
that's yeah,
you
that's the way
gotta
they
eat the
serve it.
stinky
You know.
tofu straight. You have to take
Yeah.
it at full strength. You're
Mhm.
cheating.
Yeah, that's the way they gave it to us. You know.
Oh, where was this night market?
I think it might have been a night market. You know, one thing I also found that was very interesting at Taiwan is that I've seen places where the decor isn't as fancy as other restaurants, but it's always filled with people. Yeah,
Huh?
it's always interesting that I like you see some places where the decor isn't as fancy as other types of restaurants, but the food itself it's always packed with people. You know. I've seen like even like these small restaurants, and it's always busy with people in there. You know, in other cases, like some restaurants have to close early in the day because they finished serving all the food for the day. Now I've got an interesting question. It's something I sort of pondered about. This is what was I was watching Dragon Ball Super. You know, like so have you ever watched Dragon Ball Super, like where you see Beerus, he tries a certain food from another planet, and he's like, yeah, it's okay, except it's a little greasy, I'll blow up half your planet. And then he tries the food on Earth and he can't get enough of that. Like he always eats all of these all these packages of ramen, all these boxes of pizza. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like the food we have on Earth can even appeal to the god of destruction.
I think that anime is biased.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of biased towards Earth food because our food isn't really that good compared to what's out there.
Um, hmm. It still makes me wonder about certain things. I mean, like when I see like anime of people from another world and actually trying the food on Earth, depending on the anime, I've seen it having a change on certain people. Yeah, but then again, but maybe again I might be right because I was watching like things like The Devil's a Part Timer, Izakaya, Restaurant to Another World.
I'd like to watch an anime where they come here to Earth, you try the Japanese food, and they spit it out and saying that's the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. What the
Mhm.
hell are you guys eating? Blah 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 blah.
I think there is something like that, but I don't know. I don't know if it's an anime.
Oh,
But then they liked British food instead.
can't beat British food or Scottish food for that matter.
I never
mean-
tried Scottish food. Is it bad?
No, it's just what haggis is.
Not really.
You take all the bits of the sheep that you don't eat, you stuff it in its stomach, and you boil that with milk, and then you serve it up.
Sheep
Right.
parts roasted in a sheep's stomach.
Yeah. All the bits you don't normally eat. Well, except if you eat hot dogs or something. But Scottish food is like that. They don't waste anything. So
Mhm.
they serve it up, and they like to serve it up the way the British do. So you know what you're eating. Like you can really taste that lung. You can really taste that pancreas. You know when you're eating the kidneys. It's not like Chinese food where they use spices and stuff to hide everything. No. They want you to know exactly what you're eating.
Interesting.
So, by the way, have any of you ever seen the try not to eat challenge videos on YouTube? Like there was one episode featuring the Studio Ghibli food, two of them based on the Food Wars, and then there was another episode based on food shown in Pokemon. Have you ever seen that?
Sorry, what was this?
Okay, so it's called like the try not to eat challenge. So so the way it works is that they have these people come in and they said, okay, we're going to show you like the food that they show in the anime, and we actually had some professional chefs who made the actual food. But so what happens that on every round, they present the food to them, all right? But the challenge is try not to eat it. If they last to the end without eating anything, they'll get a really nice reward. And depending on the episode, if they do eat something, sometimes they might get a penalty. So for example, in one video featuring Food Wars food, so every round they present something that was made in Food Wars and it looks delicious. Very few people were actually able to resist to the end, and then others who did eat it. The ones in one episode, the ones who actually ate something before the end, there was a food penalty. They had to eat squid and peanut butter. And then those who made all the way get this really nice dish that was actually prepared from Food Wars.
What's wrong
It
with
was-
squid with peanut butter? Maybe a little
I
bit of
don't know.
jam too to help it go down, but
Yeah.
I don't
Oddly
see.
enough, I had squid and peanut butter back in high school.
Was it a penalty as well for you?
No, it was just my
You
choice.
wanted
You know,
to
look
do
it this way. I was a growing teenager, so I get hungry a lot. I saw peanut butter, squid, make a sandwich out of it.
Huh.
And then there was also like there was also the in the Pokemon episode, they showed like there's one round they showed like rock stew that was shown in the first movie. You know, there was also puffs that they made as part of the contest. But then so those who made it to the end, so the reward is that they actually tried the curry that was featured in the Sword and Shield games. Those who failed the challenge, they had to eat. I think they had to eat like it was a type of sushi, but it was very spicy. But it's rather interesting when you see the reactions, like, "Oh my god, it looks so good!" Like, no, I must resist. Must resist. No, I'm eating this. It's like, oh yeah, it's totally worth it. Yeah. So I think in a way, it's rather an interesting way you look at the food is portrayed in the anime, and then you see how professional chefs make the food, and you can see like if it does look real, if it does look good or not.
Well, I for one, I'm going to cry fake for that. I don't think I can't imagine people not being able to hold out just because they see the food.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
to be that driven by your instincts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of not human anymore.
Mhm.
Right? Like we
Well-
have we have a certain amount of self-control, and I
Mhm.
can't imagine food being that delicious that it overcomes your self-control unless we've been starving you for like 8 days.
Yeah, and well, like I said, very few people actually made it to the end without trying any of the dishes. So it's yeah, but like I said, if you take a look at the videos, you'll see what I mean. But it is rather interesting, like seeing how they actually prepare the food that you see in anime.
Well, do they start at the abattoir where you get to watch the sheep get slaughtered?
No. No, essentially they just show the clip and the food that's being featured, then they present the actual food. Yeah.
I think Brandon shared the link in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, you can just find it on YouTube. You know, the try not to eat challenge. It's like not just an anime. They tried on other things too, like Nickelodeon food, food that was shown like on Cartoon Network, like Adventure Time or Steven Universe.
It looks fun. I'll check it out.
Okay. Yeah. But after all of this, what have you? How do you feel overall about the food that you see in anime? Do you feel that you have a certain appreciation for it, or do you want to try to explore into it a little bit more?
Well, I'm going out and getting some sushi now.
I'm so hungry. I'm gonna get food right after this.
I already had a burrito.
Nice.
burrito. What kind
I
of
said
burrito?
Steak burrito.
Yum.
Luckily, I already had my dinner before this.
Yeah,
You're
me
smart.
too.
Okay. I think it's just a few minutes left, but are there any other thoughts that people have had about the food that they've seen?
Touching on the thing that you mentioned before, like the question you had it before, I think one of the good things about looking at food in anime, and not necessarily because it's anime, but because it's coming from a different culture, is that you usually get to see something you don't normally see in your everyday. I remember when I first saw sushi in anime, right? I could not comprehend this idea of eating raw fish, and because of that experience, I got to enjoy a lot of Japanese food going on from there, like, for instance, like takoyaki and okonomiyaki and things like that. So I think it's I guess food in anime or just food in Japanese media in general is a really fun way to explore culture. Hope to see more of it as more content gets created. And that's my 2 cents.
Mhm. For anybody that wants to that's planning to travel to Japan, is there anything that you want to try there?
Well, I want to try all the endangered species that they still hunt down for scientific purposes.
Okay. I'll stick to just wanting to try monjayaki. I want to try that.
What
Oh
is
my
that?
God, that's well, you know what? You got to try it once.
It looks like a very sticky, gooey okonomiyaki, but there's no pancake mix or like mix in general. It looks
Well,
like some kind of weird. I
there
don't
is
know.
there is a pancake mix. It just doesn't solidify,
Yeah. Okay.
right? It's a nice, interesting mess. And
Hmm.
like I said, you got to try it once, but it's nothing disgusting. Like it's
Okay.
decent ingredients and stuff.
Okay.
It's
okay.
just it just doesn't solidify like you would expect okonomiyaki.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Like I'm a guy who enjoys natto, so like.
Oh yeah, it's nothing that nasty.
Natto's not nasty. It has a unique texture.
Natto is so nasty. Can't believe you like it. Kidding.
I don't know. I like it. It has like a little mustard. You mix it up and just maybe put it in curry and it's
Oh,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, once you buy the natto and then you mix in things that kill the natural flavor and texture and all that stuff, then it's okay.
Interesting. In restaurants around the world, they talked about natto spaghetti and putting natto on rice.
Well, the Japanese
that.
natto is a staple. I mean, that's standard breakfast for them, right? So they have that at least once a day.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I remember, like, if you go to Japan and you look at the stoves and you can and ovens, then you can see that there's actually a compartment in there that's just designed for grilling fish.
Well, you got to grill the fish, right?
Yep.
Not everybody can have sushi.
No, but it's pretty neat that a lot of these ovens actually have a compartment just for the purpose of grilling fish.
Oh yeah. Well, we have toaster ovens.
Mhm.
Yeah. Everybody, I don't like natto because I've tried it, and I've tried it more than once to try and see what the hell the big deal is about, and I don't like this stuff. But everybody should try the food at least once or twice.
There's actually I don't like uni. I like the aftertaste kills me, and I actually seem to have a very violent reaction to it for some reason.
But you have a violent reaction to it, but you still eat it. I mean, it's only
No,
maybe a mild food allergy or something.
No. I stopped eating after I realized that. I found out about that violent reaction. But before, I'd eat it, and I just thought, okay, maybe that one time it was just really bad. Second time, it was okay. And the third time, oh boy, I was just like, okay, I'm not eating this anymore. That was not nice.
Yeah, that's your body developing an allergy to it. Can you eat yogurt and stuff and cheese?
I can eat anything. It's just uni was just like the kryptonite for me.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering, like, you can eat soybeans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just whatever the fermenting agent is in the natto, I guess.
Well, not natto, uni, sea urchin.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was still talking about natto.
No.
So you don't like uni?
I can't eat it for some
Oh.
reason. Yeah, I found out
Well,
that's
I guess
something I
we're
can't eat.
going to the expensive Japanese sushi bar.
I'll try fugu before I eat uni again.
Uni.
So Martin, we're coming up to 8 o'clock. Do you have any
Yep.
final thoughts?
I think I think I'll take Martin's suggestion. It's like what I think what we should do is like I've got to research a couple more titles, but I think what we should do is put up a list of all of the food related animes so people can start to explore. Try to find like others that's suited to their tastes.
Sounds good. I've been adding some of the shows that you've mentioned into Discord, but I pinged you because I'm pretty sure I missed a few. But yeah,
But it sounds like after this, it sounds like there's definitely a couple of titles that people will want to take a look at.
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, I found a lot of these on Crunchyroll.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Martin, for
Oh, you're welcome.
hosting a anime food discussion. I really enjoyed it. I'm super hungry. I hope everyone else enjoyed it. Look into the shows that Martin has recommended, and if you guys have anything to share, we can continue the conversation on Discord as well. But thank you
Mhm.
everyone for joining tonight, and thank you, Martin, for hosting.
You're welcome.
Thank
I-
you,
you
Martin,
know,
for
I-
hosting.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a very different topic, but it's amazing how food can bring people together.
I agree.
Or it's also amazing how it drives people apart.
This is true.
Like natto. No, I'm kidding.
We can never be friends.
No, we can't.
Okay, with that, take care. Bye.
I get. Bye. Bye.
Bye all.
Good night.